Hey y'all, and I'm sure you've been wondering where we've been. This is like the third take on this, so not a lot of easy stuff. But there's good news and there's bad news, right? We'll start with the bad news. As you know, we are empty nesters. We don't have children living with us. Our pets are our family at this point. I mean, I have family back in the States, but our children are our pets, basically. And you know, we had the old boy, Denver. He was 17-ish years old, going on 18. And he passed in his sleep in April. And it was heartbreaking, but he went on his terms. And yeah, that's all we can hope for, right? He went to sleep and just didn't wake up. So we should all be so lucky, right? No pain, no suffering, just off into the never. And, you know, we didn't talk about it, and you guys, probably this is the first you're hearing about it. And here it is, July, and that happened in April. It was hard. It was very hard on us. You got to figure, we got him. He was maybe 5 weeks old, 6 weeks old. We rescued him at a Puppy City or a Petco or one of those PetSmarts, one of those chain stores. They had this puppy drive, and there he was. And, you know, 17 years later, we're having to say goodbye to him. And we got past that, and we, you know, started putting content out again, and everything's going fine. And, you know, we have the German Shepherd, Penny. Call her Pen Pen. She's another rescue. She came from a house where the husband wanted the dog, the wife didn't, and the dog paid the price. The wife wasn't very kind to the dog. You know, we'll just leave it at that. So we rescued her. The dog was a little bit broken when we got her, between spending a lot of time in a cage and having to deal with other animals that were stealing her food, and basically, you know, her being yelled at for, you know, trying to take their food kind of thing. We would sit with her to get her to eat and stuff like that. We unbroke her. Well, she's aging, you know, she's 13 or 14 years old, and for a German Shepherd, man, that's old, right? Maybe 12, 13, I'm not even sure. I'd have to go back and look. But at any rate, you know, she was getting older, so we're like, all right, we need to bring her in and make sure she's doing okay. You know, because we lost Ember, we're trying to make sure that we don't lose her. And she brought her, you know, the wife brought the dog to the vet, and yeah, it wasn't good news. The dog had tumors, and the vet wanted to put the dog down. The dog was fine. The dog was mobile. The dog was eating, drinking, pooping, peeing. But the vet's like, oh, the dog could go at any point in time, and the dog is suffering, and this and that. And so my wife, using her better judgment, said, there's no way that you are going to do that today. This dog is going home to her puppy, and we will make a decision together. And she couldn't have made a better decision. So we bring her to another vet for a second opinion. Our normal vet is where she ended up going for the second opinion. Our normal vet is very hard to get in with. He's a farm vet, and he travels around the local area, going to farms and taking care of everything from puppy dogs and kitty cats to cows, horses. And I think he was saying he had some llamas and other type of livestock that he takes care of. But anyway, second opinion comes in. So the dog was on painkillers because she's old and arthritic, and that's what that whole visit was for. The first visit. So they give us something similar to ibuprofen to give to her and everything. And so at the first visit, the vet feels, and she's like, yeah, she's got some tumors. But that's a normal part of aging for a German Shepherd. And we're like, huh? He's like, yeah, he's like, I used to breed them and raise them, and you know, there's certain things that shepherds are prone to, and you know, whether it's hip dysplasia and stuff like that, and growing tumors. And that a lot of time these tumors are not even cancerous. It's just abnormal growths. So what he wanted to do was, it was like a Thursday or Friday, and he decided, all right, stop giving her the painkiller, because we need to test her blood and we need to check her levels and make sure, you know, and the type of painkiller that she was on could give indications that her liver was failing or kidneys or something like that, because of the way it interacts with the dog's body. So it was Thursday. She had to stop the medicine and bring her back on Monday, do blood work. And then the vet would get in touch with us. So fast forward to that following Tuesday, the vet calls and it's like, hey, you need to come in and, you know, for an appointment and all that. We got the blood work back. And so she goes in, and lo and behold, the blood work was absolutely perfect. The dog is in excellent health blood work wise. Absolutely no indicators of any kidney problems, any liver problems, any blood count problems, and no cancer. So, win-win. The dog does have tumors. The vet says more than likely that will be how she goes, is a tumor will end up rupturing and she'll go in her sleep. But our time is not that limited with her. There's no reason she can't live more than a year. Excellent news. So we had to deal with that. And we're coming off of that. It's been a couple of weeks since we've got the good news that we did not have to lose another dog. So now that I brought y'all down, let me bring you back up. So we finally went moving forward with the renovation. We've still been doing some video content, and it's just with, you know, lack of motivation on my part, because man, it's depressing when you're looking at, you know, the problems that we were going through. But we are moving forward with the renovation. This renovation has been dragging its feet so bad, it's been killing me. The wife, she's been killing me, because she's like, we got to get this moving. Well, guess what? It's moving forward. So we got contractors coming. They're going to do our floor leveler, and we're going to get this floor done so that we can go ahead and get framing, electrical, drywall, new toilets, all that in. So the renovation is moving forward. We also have been working, and you'll see footage, on some other properties doing renovation work, that because we couldn't work here, we were working over there. And believe it or not, a lot of it is the same work that we're going to have to do here. So yes, you know, we had a bit of you know, some rough patches, but life is good again, right? Life will always get good again. You just got to get over it, right? But we're not losing another dog. That's what's important. Penny dog gets to live another day. Thankfully Mama made the right decision. So what do we got going on? We got a contractor coming, and they're going to be working in there and getting our floor leveler done. They did, you know, originally it was going to be a liquid floor leveler, and they came back and said it's too small. We're going to have to do cement. I don't care. Do what you need to do. We need the floor leveled. So the companies are busy, and that's any blue collar workers. I mean, I watch Mike Rowe, and you know, getting people to do blue collar work, near impossible. I'm a blue collar worker. I see it every day. So anyway, we're on the schedule. They're supposed to show up. They're supposed to level my floor. Life is good. So let's get on to the footage of the contract. You know, well, let me show you the before, and we'll go ahead and film some after, and maybe we can film the contractors actually putting the floor in. I don't know. I got to ask them, but we'll see. So sit tight, y'all. All right, y'all. So I know, like, there's blue collar shortage, you know, blue collar worker shortage. in America. I watch Mike Rowe every now and again, and, you know, he talks about it. And it's true. A lot of kids aren't going into the trades. Everybody wants to sit behind a desk kind of thing. Yeah, I get it. I understand. Blue collar work isn't easy. So, you know, we've been doing the renovation on the house. And just like in America, Europe is facing the same issues. Not a lot of blue collar workers. Not a lot of tradesmen. And the thing is, we needed a company to come in and do the floor leveler because, I mean, I could try to do it, but it's one of those things where you're working with cement or you're working with something that's going to harden. And if you screw it up, undoing it is a nightmare, right? Because you'd have to, like, break it all up and take it out of the room. So, if you go back and you look and you know, you can see when we started this renovation and stuff, and when we closed up the floor here, when all the plumbing was done, and that was months ago, right? Because we waited on the plumber to have some free time to come by and knock this out. He ended up on some other jobs that, to me, took priority. And it's because, you know, he's a friend and he works on his friend's stuff. So neighbors and such. And, you know, one of our other neighbors really, really needed a bathroom on the first floor because of a health condition and his inability to go up and down stairs, and their only bathroom was upstairs, and, you know, so there was a bunch of that. So I had no problem waiting, honestly. But you see how long ago it was. It was months ago that we finished this floor. And we got in contact with the company to do the floor leveling. And it's not their fault. They're slammed. They're busy. They're doing every bit of floor they can. But that's the problem. It's only like one company in the area right now that's doing this. There are other companies that, you know, they're trying to fill that void. Number one, they're not local. They're not friends of friends or anything like that. They're just coming in from the neighboring cities and stuff like that. So we have a guy in the next town, friend of a friend. He's, you know, his business they in fact did the floor leveler in that room. They're coming tomorrow. Unfortunately, we were looking at having the leveler like they did here. And you can see it kind of looks like cement, but it's a brownish shade. So that is actually what they call flüssig Esstisch. It's liquid floor leveler. And unfortunately, the job here was not big enough for a delivery of the material. So we're getting cement Esstisch, which is fine. As long as it's level, I don't care. It can be the liquid, it can be cement, as long as it's level, that's where it's at. So anyway, they're going to be here tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow, 8 a.m., and they're going to slam this floor out. We will have a level floor. Here's the downfall of cement versus the liquid floor leveler. The liquid floor leveler, 24 hours, you can walk on it. Cement, we're not going to be able to walk on this for 2 days, a little more than 2 days. So I guess they're going to set it on a Thursday, and they said that we can go ahead and walk on it on Saturday. So, yeah. Then we have issues like the orange beast. So Mustafa is, you know, he's 20-ish pounds. He's going to leave footprints in this floor if we leave that door open. And we have Penny Dog, our aging German Shepherd. She's going to have to go out the front door and around. And for the humans to use the bathroom, we can't walk through here. House, bathroom. House, bathroom. Which means we're going out the front door, around the house, and then in, and don't mind the mess, we move the washers and everything, in that door over there to get to the bathroom. So it's going to be inconvenient. It's 2 days. I mean, I'm not gonna complain. We have indoor plumbing, right? I mean, this house was actually built without a bathroom when it was first built, because the house itself stops right here. So from here, that way is the house. From here, that way is all barn. So the house was built, and the bathroom, the original bathroom, is actually, you know, because you can see where the wall is. That's the original bathroom right there. So that bathroom was not inside the house, which means there was no bathroom in the house. Yes, the house was rebuilt in the 70s. So it is block. However, the original house that was standing here, this house took its place. So when I say the original house, it's the house that was placed here back when streets didn't have addresses. There was no addresses. It wasn't, you know, one main street or anything like that. It was, each house had a name. So this was called House Nichols. Nichols as in the coin. And so what I'm getting at is they didn't have an indoor toilet, you know. And I got one. It's just I have to go outside. But it is what it is, right? So, you know, 2 days, we'll be able to walk on the floor. And then we got to wait for the floor to actually cure, because you can't cover it with flooring material because you're going to trap all the moisture in the floor. That's another unfortunate thing, because I do believe it's going to have to cure for probably at least a month. But that's okay. Once the floor itself is in, and I don't mean the flooring, I mean the level, you know, the cement leveler is in place, I can start getting framing done and everything like that, because of course we're not going to put flooring underneath the framing. So that's the good thing. We can start framing it out and, you know, do all the little things we want to do prior to putting the floor down. It'd probably be a benefit to do the framing and all of that, and maybe try to get the paint and all that done before we do the floor anyway. It lets the project move forward. One way or the other, we're moving forward, right? So, big news. Excellent. This is going to make the project reignite. We've been stuck in this slump of waiting for the flooring company, you know, the Estrich, the leveling company, to come out. We met with them a couple of weeks ago. They looked at the job, took measurements. And at that time, he was like, oh, I don't know if they'll deliver such a small amount of liquid, because apparently it's similar like cement. You order it in a big truck. And it's looking like they won't deliver it. It's too small of a volume. Because in this room, we're going, you know, maybe, if I had to guess, we're going probably 2 inches in this room. So 2 inches in this room, about 5 centimeters. It does get a little bit deeper in here, but this room is really small. It's a smaller bathroom. So they can't deliver it. All right. great. So it's cement. It's going to be cement, and it's on its way. I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for this. So, but as you know, or may or may not know, we've been over on another property, finishing it up for rentals. That's about quarter mile that way. We have been tied up there, crazy busy. We were scheduled to finish on the 15th because they had somebody moving in and all that. And lo and behold, that timeline has slipped. So we actually paused. We took 3 days because today's now the 16th. So between the 15th back, we took 3 days off. And that was a lot of logistic stuff for this and getting this done. That now we're kind of behind on that. We wanted to be done by the 15th. It's looking like we're going to be done this weekend, but this has to take precedence only because there's no rush on that because it's looking like the renters can't move in until August. And this is happening tomorrow. So obviously this has to take precedence. But hey, just that quick little update. And yeah, good stuff. So we'll get at you later. All right, y'all, so the crew showed up to do the floor. And right now what they did was they came in and they put primer down and brought their hose in. So they're gonna pump this stuff in, which I guess they're gonna make it a real thin or thinner type mixture. I mean, you can pump straight up cement, but so it's all shiny because they put down the primer, Grandiron, to help it adhere to the floor. And then they put this little tripod in, and I'm imagining they're gonna pump it into the room and bring it along. This is gonna be really deep, and of course this is really thin here. But we got through all the measurements and what they're gonna do in the fall. And the interesting thing is here is 1.5 centimeters higher than there. I asked him if it was a problem. He's like, no, so they're going to fall the floor very slightly towards the door to get us to where we don't have to replace the door right away. And then when we do replace the door, that because just all the doors are standard height, that it fits in the opening correctly. So yeah, they are going to bring it right to the edge of that floor there. We were talking, and I don't know if he's going to make the step or if I'm making the step. I don't know. But either way, it is what it is, right? So it's off and running. I guess they're working multiple jobs right at the moment. So they came and sprayed the primer all down, the sealer, primer sealer. And they went to another job, and then they're going to come back and pump the room. So cool. We are making headway. So it is a beautiful day. It's actually like the right temperature right now and everything. But as I was telling you, they were using a pump. So they have this machine here, and there's their sand, and of course they're going to mix it with probably Portland. It's cement, and they will pump it in the hose and into the room. So yeah, hopefully it doesn't take them too long, because these guys are, they're working hard. They're off on another job, probably doing the same exact thing somewhere else, because they're in such high demand. So yeah, man, this is great. Good news. I just met with the boss of the job, and it's going to be cheaper. Because they couldn't do the Flusesestris, the water, the stuff that they pour in self-leveling. I guess that material is a lot more expensive. The job's going to be like $250 or so. Cheaper. Gotta dig it. So Yeah, good times. All right, y'all. So I went to work and left the guys here doing the floor. But amazing. So I'm going to use you guys to turn on lights. So there we go. And we'll get this one. And let me turn you around. So we now have a level floor. They actually did do the little step right there so that we can come back and just do tile. And what I think I'm going to do is make it like a bold, maybe a white underneath the tile, like on the face of the stair, so that it catches your eye. Because it's kind of a tripping hazard, because it's not a full stair and it's only, you know, like yay tall. People might miss it. So I think we'll figure out some way to make it like obvious. But the bathroom looks great. And I really haven't seen over here, so you guys get to see it first. And then out by the door. So it looks really good. And like I was saying, so from here, right along this wall to right in front of that door, there's a fall of about 15 millimeters. So 15 millimeters is, I don't know. Actually, I do. 15 millimeters is right around 5/8 of an inch. Because 15 millimeter, 5/8. So 15 millimeter falls between 9/16 and 5/8 when you're using standard wrenches instead of metric. So anyway, so it's right around 5/8 of an inch. That's not that much. Not across this distance. All the way across this distance. So the problem was we had the floor here, like I was saying earlier, and we wanted to be 10 millimeters down below it. And then we had the threshold on the door over there, and we wanted to be 10 millimeters below that. So the only way to do it was to fall the floor the 15 millimeters all the way out. So, I mean, 5/8 of an inch across, what is this? If I had to guess, 16 feet, maybe a little more. And I'm judging it by how big like a 4x8 sheet of plywood is, right? So it's looking like maybe 16, maybe even as much as 20 feet. Not that bad, right? So, you know, if we say it's 15 feet, right, that's 1 millimeter per foot. So that's really nothing. Yeah, no complaints here, right? So if it's 5/8 and it's 16 feet, it's a 1/16 of an inch per foot. That's nothing. I'm good with that, right? So, is it a 1/16 of an inch per foot? Because 8/16, if it's 8 foot, is half an inch. Well, so we're close, yeah. But digging it. So now we just have to wait for it to dry. And the guy said maybe tomorrow we can walk on it. I'll test the waters tomorrow to see. I really want to be careful because I don't want to screw that nice step up that those guys made, because that's perfect. That means I don't have to do any cement work anymore. I just have to let this dry and start framing, you know. We're going to put slats on the wall to hold the drywall, and then of course I'll show you all the layout here. But yeah, great. So it's great to come home from work and see that. And let me lock this door. So the reason I'm doing that is because I don't want to accidentally walk through the door, you know, because I'm not saying I'm old, but, you know, we might forget and try to walk through the door. I also we left the door open so it'll dry faster. So there's a big X of tape across the back door. And in fact, let's wander back there. Let me grab my keys. Because here in Germany, typically there's no door handle on the outside of the doors. Yeah, it's weird. I'll show you what I mean. So here's a door handle, right? And here's a grab handle. It's not a door handle. Like, you can't unlock it, so you got to bring a key. But we're gonna walk all the way around. So away we go. So we're home, and I got home, and this is the first view I got. Awesome view. So like I said, I put tape up across the door. But there is the floor. It looks good. And like I said, we're down the 10 millimeters here. We're down the 10 millimeters over there. And yeah. And I felt it a little bit, and it feels pretty solid. So hopefully it'll dry in a day's time. Well, by tomorrow night, right? So that it's only tonight we're really having to walk all the way around the house like I just did. Because we have to walk around the house, and we actually have to go in over here in this door. Because the bathroom is through the door over there. But good stuff, really good stuff. I am over the moon. I'm happy. We now have the ability to press forward with this build. So, yep. All right. More to come. All right, y'all. So it is a couple days later, and I'll tell you what, this floor turned out amazing. Amazing. You don't have to take my word for it. You can take his word for it. He loves the floor too. So they got it all leveled out. And I'm pretty sure I mentioned earlier, there's the fall on the floor from here where I'm standing. So at this doorway, so right where this line is, across this doorway, all the way across the floor past the kitty cat to that door is 15 millimeters difference. From here, it goes downhill 15 millimeters. The fortunate turn of events was they were originally going to use liquid floor leveler in here. And if they'd have done that, they would not have been able to correct that. Things being what they weren't able to get a small enough truck, because this is like a 32 square meter area. It's like 20 foot and change this way. And if I guess, we'll say about 12 foot this way. That size area, they weren't able to have the liquid floor leveler delivered. It was a blessing in disguise, because if they'd have done that, we'd have been scrambling trying to figure out what we were going to do. We were probably going to end up having to pour this end of the floor, like by the doorway. We'd end up having to pour it 15 millimeters lower, meaning there'd have been a 25 millimeter step right there. 25 millimeters, like an inch. That would have not been good. So, as it is, we have a 10 millimeter lip there, because when we're done and we install the flooring, then it'll be flat into the rest of the house. So this floor turned out great. I mean, look, he absolutely loves the floor. He has actually spent a lot of his time in here, and I think it's because the weather here was on the hot side. And although cement creates heat while it's drying, this actually felt a little cooler because it was open. And the floor actually, when you're barefoot, feels cooler than the rest of the house. I guess he likes it. He lays in here all the time. Or he lays in here in the bathroom. So the floor turned out amazing. They did exactly what I needed to do here by the toilet because of the way we set it up. I didn't want them to put the floor leveler back there like that, you know, because they didn't. Because if I ever need to mess with this, I need to be able to get there without having to jackhammer this stuff out. I did it the last minute. If you see there's an orange cable there, you know, pipe. I did it the last minute. I was like, oh no, we don't have power over there. I got power over here now. So, got the power strung at the last minute. I did shoot a 5-wire over there. So we got 3 hots, a neutral, and a ground over here. So that, yeah, we have plenty of power. 2.5 millimeter. Capable of carrying up to like, we'll say about 20 amps or so, maybe 30. Because you can send 16 on 1.5, that's 2.5. Yeah, whatever it is, yeah. So, floor's done, floor looks great. We get to move on. I think in the next installment, what we're going to do is we are going to start in the bathroom. We were originally going to move the washer and dryer right there because that's where they're going, right? But I'm like, well, if I'm working in the bathroom, why do I want to move these things in and out? So we put them right back where they were. If you've seen previous videos, this is where they were. Now, because we disconnected all the electrical, it's running on that heavy extension cord to power the washer dryer. We never use both at once, so it is a heavy gauge cable, so we're not going to burn out our washer dryer or anything like that. They use barely any electricity anyway. They're European. I think when I metered it, max draw was like 1100 watts, 1200 watts, something like that. Nothing compared to the American style dryer we had here. That thing would spin my meter like a top. So anyway, we're going to wrap this one up. I'm going to put this one in the bag. We are going to, probably in the next installment, start in here so you get to see me actually working instead of talking about this, this project going forward, because I didn't do the floor. Contractors did the floor. And I'll tell you what, they did an awesome job. Awesome, awesome job. So, yeah, we'll catch you in the next one. And in sticking with my motto, if you're thinking about family, you're thinking about friends, give them the WhatsApp or the WhatsApp. You know you'd love to hear from them too. Words can make the difference. Speak to them, talk to them. They might reach out to you and it'd change your day, right? So, we'll see you on the next one, folks. Auf Wiedersehen.